It will be our purpose to understand this doctrine in terms of its relationship not only to what God intends, but by contrast to what unbelief also does with the doctrine of regeneration. Every civilization, every religion is concerned with rebirth in some form. All have felt the need to start afresh, to break the bondage of the past, to have a new man in a new world. As a matter of fact, rebirth, regeneration, has very commonly been made a goal of politics. Men have recognized that a problem exists. Now, the question that we shall begin to delve into is, what is the problem? Before we can answer that, we have to deal with the very word problem. What does problem mean? The dictionary tells us that a problem is a question proposed for solution, anything that is required to be done, something difficult to solve, but having a solution. If there is no solution, it is not a problem, it is a tragedy. Thus, ultimately, death comes to all of us. Thus, death, ultimate death, is not a problem, but an inescapable fact. If I call the fact that man ultimately, sooner or later, has to die a problem, I am saying I can solve it and eliminate death from the world. Death as a problem was Christ's problem. He provided the solution for the elect. For a man to say that death is a problem to me and I'm going to solve that problem is presumption. Thus, what a man considers to be a problem is very revealing of man. Our problems are assertions of competence. When we say something is a problem, we're saying we can solve it. Thus, if a man says, or a woman says, that his wife or her husband is a problem, he's saying, I can solve it. I can change them, which is presumptive. If he or she says, I have a burden in my husband or wife, then they're being realistic. They're saying, I can't change them. And of course, a great deal of marital friction ensues when husband and wife regard each other as problems that they're going to solve. And it doesn't work that way. Now, for humanism, the world and the people around us are the problem. And humanism proposes to remake man and the world. Most votes that are cast as a part of problem solving, voting for a man or a party that promises to remake man and society. The need is seen by both humanists and Christians as a rebirth. But the humanist says it's my problem to solve. And when he says that, he begins to play God with the world and with man. The believer says it is God's problem. And therefore it is the Word of God that needs to be brought to bear on everything. Because God and His Word have the answer, and men must surrender to God so that God, working in their lives, can accomplish His purpose. For man to claim to be able to solve man's problem of rebirth means denying that God is the problem solver.